Welcome to this programming tutorial. In this tutorial, we're going to look at Python lists, particularly 2D lists. To create one, we're going to create one that stores the name and grades of different students. Let's start by writing a 2D array over here with the name Mary, who received an A, Jack, who received a B, and Alex, who received an A. Notice that a 2D list is a list that has a lot of sublists inside it. In our previous lesson, we looked at 1D arrays where you just had data inside the two brackets, as you can see from these yellow ones over here. But a 2D array is a list within a list. There's a couple of things we have to think about. If I print our name list, you can see it comes up with the entire list. If I try and use the index to call the first item in the list, for example, Mary A, I'll end up with the first sublist in my big list. If I want to get just the name Mary in this list, I'd have to write this like this. Get the first sublist in my list, which is this one, and then get the first item or element in that sublist, which is over here. As you can see, we now get Mary. Let's look at it a different way. In Python, you could organize your list like this to make it a little bit easier for you to read. In this case, we've got our sublist over here, and we've got our individual data over here. Whoops. If I want to get A over here, I would write 0 or row 0 and then position 1. If I write that, I would get A. If I wanted to get Alex, I would write row 2 and position 0. So think of 2D lists as a grid or coordinates on a map or a graph. Let's now remove these. We'll keep the list the same way like that. And I'll show you, you can even change things in the 2D list like you can in a normal array. I could write name 01 equals C. And that will change Mary's grade from an A to a C. I can also add an item to the list by writing name.insert or name.append. Up to you. Remember, the append will automatically add it to the end of the list, whereas insert will allow you to choose which index you want to add it into. Let's append it. In this case, we'll write Bob, who received a grade D. If I print my name list, you're going to find that Bob will now print out at the end. So you can push and pop or insert and pop or append and pop any item in the array like you can with a 1D array. It's exactly the same, except we use extra array brackets over here, extra list brackets over here to make sure that we're adding in a list item. That keeps with the same as all of these over here. Now, how do you run through an entire 2D list? Well, that's easy. We create a for loop. We'll say the count is called I, and it goes in the range from 0 to the length of name. Now, what is the length of name? Well, name has 3 items in it. 1, 2, 3. So this will repeat 3 times. Let's print name I. We should get the 3 different objects or 3 different list items on a separate line. If I wanted to get the names, I could write I0 and it would automatically pick up every single name, as you can see here. But what if I want to automatically run through all of the lists and print out everything in the list? Well, I can do a nested for loop. I write for j in range 0 to the length of name I. What we're doing here is we're getting the length of the name and running through it, and then for every individual sublist, this is what the I is over here, we're going to get the length of these sublists. In this case, we've got 1 and 2 items. So this will run twice, whereas this will run 3 times. That means every time this main loop repeats, it's going to repeat 2 times. So let's go in here and we'll print name ij. This will give me every single item in the list on a new line. But what if I want to have Mary A, Jack B all on one line and moving with each list item? So in other words, printing it out like it is here. Well, what I can do here is I can add an end clause or parameter to my print statement. This will stop it from coming on a new line. If I run this, you see everything comes on a new line. Now, if I want to make a new line after Mary A, I need to make sure I do that outside the inner for loop. In this case, I'll just print nothing. So what I'm doing here is I'm printing the 2 list items, adding a new line, and then moving to the next list or next sublist. To make it a bit neater, rather than ending with nothing, let's end with a space. There we go. We get a space between them, and at the end, before it goes to the next list, it prints a new line over here. Keep in mind that there is a new line character you can use, which is / \n. \n is a special character that means new line. But because print statements already do that by default, we can just have it empty. Now, let's look at another concept called dictionaries. A dictionary is a data structure that has a key paired with a value. Let's build a car. A dictionary is created with curly brackets instead of normal brackets, or square brackets, should I say. In this case, we're going to assign it a key, let's call it brand, and we'll use a colon to connect it to a value. In this case, my value is going to be Kia. Let's create another one called model. I will call this one Rio. The cool thing about dictionaries is that if I want to print off a dictionary, like car for example, you don't put the index. What you do is you put the key. So if I print out brand here, we should get Kia in our outputs. And there you go. In a dictionary, you can add things to the dictionary by using car.updates. And in here, we can write color blue. Keep in mind, because we're adding a dictionary item, we have to put these curly brackets like we have up here. And the colon has to go between the key and the value. Now, what this will do is this will look through the entire dictionary, and if it finds a term called or a key called color, it will update it to blue. If it doesn't find a key called color, it will automatically add it as a new attribute at the end of my dictionary. In other words, if it can't find color, it will put it at the end for me. You can also use the delete command to delete something from the the dictionary. For example, I could delete the brand by doing this. This will delete this line over here. Dictionaries are quite useful because dictionaries allow you to much more easily organize your data by labeling your data. Thank you for watching this tutorial. I hope you have found it helpful.